gonna try one more time, okay? The universe just doesn't want this information out there, and honestly, it needs to be out there. We are just gonna make one thing clear. I need y'all to stop believing every single thing that you search up on TikTok and find your answer to. What's up, guys? It's your girl Savvy. Welcome back, or welcome to. If you are new here, my name is Savvy. I'm a toddler mom, a stay-at-home mom, an entrepreneur. I love everything fitness. My fiance is a personal trainer. And yeah, I just make content centered around fitness, self-care, and just living a healthy lifestyle to hopefully inspire you in some way or help you on your fitness journey. So if that sounds like something that is your cup of tea, then make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can come back and sip it all. So I want to start a new series on my channel. I'm going to. This is it. This is the first episode. It is called That Fit Girl. I am going to teach you how to be self-sufficient on your fitness journey with the right information. Because as I said earlier, too many people are running to TikTok to find answers to their problems or answers to their workout routines or answers to their nutrition plan that they should be following. And then they complain that nothing's working. If you're someone who purchased a program from an online coach or just an online influencer, fitness influencer, and you've done it once, twice, maybe even 3 or 4 times, and it never seemed to work out for you, come here. I'm going to tell you something that might hurt your feelings or upset you, but at this point, you're probably already upset because it didn't work for you, right? The reason that the program did not work is because it wasn't made for you. Of course, it's not going to work. The person that you bought that program from literally made the program based off of their own self, like their own goals, their own genetics, their own habits. And you're wondering why it's not going to work for you. Honey, you are not them and they are not you. Okay, so I literally have an entire page of notes right here. I'm already out of breath because I'm getting hyped about this. But we're going to talk about a subject that nobody wants to talk about, and I don't understand why. I'm just kidding. Everybody wants to talk about it. And it's how to build a booty. How to build a juicy booty, how to get the glute gains, how to grow your glutes, how to maximize your glute growth, all of the above, okay? I'm going to teach you how to be self-sufficient in your journey and actually grow your glutes the right way. So you got a fatty for this summer, for next summer, and the summer after that, because you're gonna have a fatty for the rest of your life, okay? Basically, I'm gonna tell you exactly what we're gonna talk about. I'm going to lay down the foundation for you so you understand the mechanics and the science behind growing your glutes. I'm going to kind of fill you in on what contributes to glute growth. Because there's a lot of contributing factors, and I think that's one of the most, what's the word for it? Not underrated, but like it's just not enough people know and understand what contributes to glute growth. And so they focus on some of the wrong things or only on a couple of the things that contribute. Anyways, we're going to break all that down. I'm going to tell you the training techniques that you want to prioritize and some of the movements that you probably want to avoid because they're not going to be doing much for you. I'm also going to debunk some myths and lies that are out there, even though there's like tons of them. We're going to do a couple of them, okay? My favorite ones. And then I'm going to give you my best exercises for glute growth, and we're just going to put a little plan together for you. A literal plan. Put it together for you so you can follow it, and it actually works. All right, girl. Let's just get right to it, okay? Lay down the foundations to growing your glutes. First thing I want you to know is that it's not just one thing you need to focus on. It's a ton of things. You need to consider your nutrition and what you're eating, how much you're eating. You need to consider your genetics, right? That's kind of obvious. If you're someone who is glute dominant, like granted, the smaller I am, the less glutes I have. But when I gain weight, I do tend to gain it in my glutes. Your genetics, your nutrition, and obviously your training play a huge part in your glute growth. Another thing that's not so common is your muscle dominance, right? I kind of just mentioned this, but if you're someone who is glute dominant or quad dominant, depending on how you train, this does play a factor in your glute growth. Back to your workouts, your training style, your training intensity, your training frequency, right? Are you training glutes twice a week, 3 times a week? Are you strictly focusing on progressive overload? Are you also including time under tension, muscle to mind connection, mind to muscle connection, and just other techniques? And then last but not least, one of the other uncommon, or I would say underrated factors, is rest and recovery. Rest and recovery is equally as important, and you better write this down. Matter of fact, if y'all don't have a notebook and a pen out right now, go get one. Go get one. Rest and recovery is equally important to your training regimen. You can be working your freaking butt off in the gym just to get it to pack back on 10 times bigger, but it won't if you're not prioritizing your rest and your recovery and you're not doing it the right way. So those are pretty much just the foundations to glute growth. We're going to go into some of the training techniques that, like I mentioned, these play a part in your glute growth. The training techniques that you're going to want to prioritize, a lot of you hear this all over social media, progressive overload. That they're right about. You are going to want to make sure that you're prioritizing progressive overload. And if you're not sure with what that term means, that just essentially means that you are consistently challenging your body. If you can perform 10 reps at a certain weight level, you need to bring the weight level up. It's too easy for you. You want to bring it up until you can only do 8 to 10 reps. And at that, you're struggling. Once you master that weight level, because 8 to 10 reps is easy to you, you bring up the weights again. And the reason that this helps is not because you're lifting weights, you're lifting heavy weights and you're building your strength. Why it's helping you is because gradually over time, you're just consistently challenging your muscles. You're really not giving it the option to take it easy. Yeah, you might take a breath here and there, a pause here and there. That's not you struggling. You struggling is you are about to drop to the floor and the weight's going with you type thing. Now, keep in mind, please have proper form, technique, take your safety precautions. But for example, like when I'm doing a hip thrust and it is taking every ounce of energy I have and every like little piece of motivation in my mind to get that last rep up that I'm shaking and struggling, that's failing. And you want to do this because gradually over time, again, your body's not getting that break. It's not getting the chance to just take it a little easier. No, you're constantly putting your body through the work. You're putting those muscle fibers to work. And the only way that any muscle group, grows, oh my God, the only way that any muscle group is going to grow is if those muscle fibers tear. So with progressive overload, the heavier you lift over time, the more you're going to challenge those muscles over and over and over again, the more that the muscle fibers are going to tear over and over and over again. They're going to have to repair themselves, and in repairing, they grow. A technique that this one is totally underrated, and I actually credit alternating between progressive overload and this training technique to my substantial glute growth back in 2021. And I'll put up a picture here so you can see. It's not like showing my overall glutes. I'll put up another one if you guys really need to see it. I'm just not trying to plaster my buns on the internet. But I was able to define my kind of like feminine curves more. I was able to create the illusion that my hips were a little bit wider and my hip dips weren't as prominent. My glutes were rounded, they were toned, they were lifted, and they were definitely a lot bigger in size. And I attribute all of that to training progressive overload, but also training time under tension. Time under tension is essentially you're not focusing as much on going heavier in weights. You're focusing more on the amount of time you put those muscles under tension. So, for example, if you're throwing in like a 2-second pause to your squats, or you are doing a 3-second eccentric phase in your hip thrusts, whenever your muscles are at the furthest stretching point, you're burning them. You're making them work. Think about it this way, right? You're doing a hip thrust, you're on the bench, and as you're bringing your body down and back, those glute muscles are starting to stretch, right? Because they're trying to reach all the way back. Nice and slow. The only thing your muscles are thinking in that moment is, girl, if you don't bring me to the top of this bench right now, ooh, you're just putting pressure, tension. You are making those muscles hold that body weight or that additional weight. You're making those muscles keep proper form, keep the stability in the movement, and literally just throw down some hard work till you finally let them back to the top. And I think that switching between progressive overload and time under tension every week in the same week is actually the most beneficial, because you are able to challenge your body on a continuous basis. Another training technique that you need to prioritize is mind to muscle connection. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't focus on mind to muscle connection in every single workout, anything else you do, throw it away. You can literally throw it away and you can kiss your gains goodbye. Because if you don't focus on the muscles that you're trying to use in a particular movement, then naturally so, if they get tired and they get fed up with the workout that you're putting them through, they're going to pass it off to the next muscle. Like, girl, you got this. So if you're doing a good morning where it's a compound movement that incorporates your hamstrings and your glutes, and you just did 3 other exercises targeting your glutes and they are over it, they're fatigued, they're fed up, they are going to try to push off the weight and the work to the hamstrings. But by mind to muscle connection, you are telling your glutes, girlfriend, you don't get a break today. You're going to work because you're going to grow or you're out. Okay? So, mind to muscle connection, I don't care what anybody says, needs to be one of your top priorities going into every single workout. Back to what I said earlier, there's so many people, myself included, right? Raise your hand if you are someone who purchased a program online because the individual selling the program had your dream body. And you thought, if I purchase this program, I'm going to have that body. If I had 3 hands, I'd raise all 3 because I've done it 3 times. And the craziest thing is, they never worked for me either. So you're not alone. But I'm going to tell you why they never worked for me. And it might be different from you. The workouts that I found in their program were exactly what I was already doing. Do you know how pissed off I was? Thinking they had some secret sauce, some special exercise, some little nutrition hack that I wasn't doing. And this was just going to light switch, change everything. Yeah, well, it didn't. And I was pissed, okay? Anyways. But the reason that it did not work for me is because I was already utilizing those same exercise movements. I was already challenging myself using the same techniques that they were using. Shoot, some of the workouts, like, I mean, obviously I didn't know these people personally, but seeing some of their videos on their Instagram or whatever, I was lifting heavier weights than them too. And I'm not saying any of this to brag, but I'm saying it to prove a point that the reason it did not work is because that program was not made for me. I was doing all the same exercises that they were doing, but nothing in that program was teaching me what I needed to know aside from what I already knew. Nothing in that program was catered to Sabby with her genetics, right? I might have been doing the right workouts and utilizing different training techniques, but what I wasn't doing was combining every single piece that played a part in the overall picture. And with those programs, I kind of just tossed them aside because I was like, well, that was a waste of money. But in the end, what ended up being kind of my epiphany moment, light bulb moment, like, I finally cracked the code, was realizing that yes, a program will work. That's the only way that your group, I'm never going to say this right, your glute growth dreams are going to come into fruition is if you follow a plan, but you have to follow a plan that was made for you, based off of your genetics, based off of your lifestyle, your habits, your schedule, your challenges, your imbalances. Because if the program and the plan is not catered towards that, and it doesn't continue to challenge you, it's never going to work, no matter who writes the program, you or anybody else. Okay? So let's just get that straight. Speaking of programs, because I feel like I kind of just shitted on myself. Yes, I do sell online coaching. I am an online coach. And that's actually one thing that I am like very, very adamant about when I promote my coaching in any way, shape, or form, is that the programs I literally write the moment that you sign up as my client. It's not programs that I have in my backpack that I just whip out and then assign it to you once you pay me. No, I sit down and I think, okay, this is the information she's given me, right? You do a little questionnaire, and I put the pieces together as to what the best plan is going to be for you based on all of that information and where you want to go, where you want to be on whatever timeline you give me, right? And I'm going to tell you if, your timeline might be a little unrealistic or not. Um, but at the end of the day, my programs are always specified to the individual. I don't believe there's ever going to be a one program fits all. And y'all can argue with me on that if you want to. I could go all day, tip for tat. Back to our purpose of this video. Lies that you are being told on the internet, I can't take it anymore. I can't see you guys continue to run to TikTok and ask it how to grow your glutes, or what exercises to do to grow your glutes, or what should my calorie intake be to grow my glutes, because it's generic information that you're getting. I literally have been on my fitness journey for 10 years and I have always done my own research. And this is before TikTok ever existed. And even when TikTok did come into play, I still did my own research from credible sources. I got certified. I, studied anyone in the health and fitness field with degrees and just experience to show, not just education. Because I'll be real, anybody can kind of get a certified personal trainer certificate these days. But that's another topic for another day. So anyways, the point is, like, stop going to TikTok and believing everything you see firsthand. If you see something on TikTok and it kind of like strikes your interest and you think you want to apply it to your routine or your program, okay, that's totally fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But what I'm saying is that you need to do your own research on the back end with the information that you have been given from whatever source you've gotten it from, to make sure that it's validated, to make sure that it's applicable to you, that it is specific to you. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Like, a lot of these lies that are out there, let's go through some of them, right? Glute isolation over compound movements to grow your glutes. Wrong. Absolutely not. Compound movements are going to be so much more efficient for glute growth. And I'm going to give you just one reason why that'll case closed. Because in a compound movement, you are able to challenge yourself more by applying more weight and better technique. With glute isolation, you can only go so heavy in certain movements. If you're doing hip thrusts versus glute kickbacks, how heavy can y'all go on hip thrusts? I'm going to guess it's a lot heavier than you can do a glute medius kickback. And that is why a compound movement is going to help you grow your glutes better and faster, because you're able to apply more of a challenge. You're able to go more towards failure because there's more muscles at work helping you maintain stability, helping you maintain form, helping you maintain the technique, so you can mind to muscle connect that target muscle group that you're wanting to work, all while making sure everything else is in check. So no, glute isolation, yes, it is helpful. I'm not saying don't do it at all. You can do glute isolated workouts, but if you prioritize those over compound movements, girl, it is going to take you 2 years to grow your glutes, like these influencers say, okay? Just saying. Just saying. And speaking of isolation, another myth that drives me nuts when I hear this is that you can target your individual glute muscles on their own. No, you cannot. Argue with me, but no, you cannot. Like, you can put more emphasis on your glute medius or your glute minimus or your glute maximus through certain movements, but you cannot individually isolate one of those three muscles in any workout you do. Why? Because they're all connected. How are you going to completely cut out any other muscle group from working if it's connected to another muscle group? Make it make sense. Okay, so stop believing that if you do. We'll just do one more, but cardio shrinks your gains. Ugh! If I hear any of y'all say this to me in person, or not even to me, I just hear you say it, I'm going to lose my mind. Cardio is not going to shrink your gains. Okay, so many people, and maybe I should make a video about this, but too many people do not understand how cardio works. Will cardio contribute to weight loss? Yes. But will it also contribute to your gains? Yeah, it will. And here's why. If you perform cardio in the beginning of your workout, let's say, steady state cardio, you are essentially working on your cardiovascular system, right? You're building your stamina, you're building your endurance. Now, if you take that same stamina and endurance and you apply it to your weightlifting routine, don't you think it's going to improve your glute gains or any gains in general? Because of the fact that you now have the adrenaline, the endurance, the stamina, the breath work and technique to challenge yourself more in your weightlifting routines. So cardio is going to help you with your gains. I do cardio before every single workout. Why? Because I want to make sure that throughout my workout, I can sustain my breathing. I can sustain my heart rate. I can sustain my stamina, my endurance. And I can continue to push myself further and harder in every single rep, every single movement to challenge myself and grow. People think that cardio is going to shrink your gains because you're going to lose the weight. But that's why I told you there's so many factors that contribute to growing your glutes or any muscle for that matter. Because if you're doing cardio, you're potentially losing weight. You're burning calories. That's what you're doing when you do cardio. Okay? And you're not necessarily burning your fat. The way you're burning fat is through weightlifting, through resistance training. Okay? But what else are you doing through resistance training? You're building lean muscle. So while the fat might be out, the muscle's coming in. So cardio does not ruin or shrink your gains. It's going to contribute in one way or another. And if you want me to make a video about cardio on its own topic, comment and let me know. But I don't want to get too distracted. I'm not going to lie to you guys. My phone's about to die again. And this is the third time I've tried to record this video. So here goes nothing. Best exercises for glute growth. So there's 3 specific movement patterns that I want you to focus on because personally for me, like my own progress, my own experience, and the women that I have trained over the past 10 years, it has also worked for them. And it's science-based, so of course it's going to work. Hinge movements, number 1. Deficit movements, number 2. And abduction movements, number 3. So for hinge, that is just the back and forth movement. The deficit just means a deeper range of motion in your movement. And the abduction is when you're moving your hips out, your hip rotators out away from your body. Okay? These 3 movement patterns are going to target those 3 glute muscles, your maximus, your minimus, and your medius. And some of the workouts or like exercises specifically that fit into each of those categories are hip thrusts, RDLs, right? And any variation of the 2. There's calf bridges, there's single leg hip thrust, you've got glute bias RDLs, you've got B stance RDLs, whatever. Hip thrust and RDLs for your hinge movements. For deficit movements, you can do reverse deficit lunges, when your foot is elevated on, your stable leg is elevated on a plate. You can do Bulgarian split squats, right? Where one of your feet are elevated up on a bench. Abduction movements. They've got hip abduction machines at the gym. And what I love about these machines, even though I'm really not a big machine person, is that they provide more stability so you can apply more weight. Another abduction movement you can do is lateral lunges. These are really great too because they'll also work your inner thigh. And there's really not many movements that will target your inner thigh specifically, but those are the best exercises I would recommend. Ones that I think you should avoid: glute hyperextensions, they're absolutely overrated. Glute kickbacks, again, everybody's doing them on TikTok and they're very overrated. And Bulgarian split squats. Now, granted, I know you're gonna be like, Sab, you literally just told me to do Bulgarian split squats. The reason that I think you should not do these 3 movements, it's not because they don't work. They do. They work in their own ways. And I utilize 2 of the 3 in my workouts. The reason that I think you should avoid these, though, is if you're a beginner. If you are not, even if you're not a beginner, you're intermediate level or whatever, if you have not mastered these movements and the mechanism of these movements in particular, don't do them, because they're not going to be as effective as a basic hip thrust, a good morning, a squat. Yes, even a squat would be more effective to grow your glutes than glute hyperextensions or Bulgarians if you're not doing them right. I also have a series on here. I posted on my Instagram as well, called Coached by Sabby, where I will take simple movements like Bulgarian split squats and I'll show you how to regress it. So if you're not a pro at Bulgarian split squats on a bench with a barbell or dumbbells, I show you how to bring it back to the basics and work your way up so you can master the mechanism of the movement and really get to the advanced level and absolutely crush it and get all of the gains from it that you possibly can. So that is my advice as to why you should avoid those routines or those exercises. And if you want the help to master those movements, then be on the lookout for my YouTube shorts or my Instagram videos called Coached by Savvy. Okay, I told y'all, I got you. I'm going to make you a self-sufficient gym baddie. I mean, a self-sufficient fit girl, because this series is that fit girl. I'm so proud of myself because that is it. We finished pretty much all of the points that I wanted to talk about, and that I think are really going to help you guys on your glute growth journey. Look at that. I did it that time. Almost, kind of. There was like a little mess up, but it's fine. All of this information that I shared with you in this video, bear with me because I know it was kind of lengthy. I'm a bit chatty. Like, we just love this and yap. Okay, this and yap. But I promise you that if you apply the things that I've shared with you in this video and you have a specific plan in place with all of the factors that contribute to glute growth according to you and specific to you, you will grow your glutes. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. And if there's anything that you ever see on social media and you're wondering like, I wonder if this is true, send it to me. Literally DM me on Instagram or even message me on TikTok and be like, what do you think, Sab? Are they lying to me? And I will crack the myth, bust the myth, detect the lie, and I will save y'all, okay? One fit girl at a time. But I hope you guys liked this series. I'm actually really excited to continue doing the series because I do want to see all of you be self-sufficient baddies, okay? I'm going to turn each and every one of you into that fit girl in 2025, one video at a time. So stick with me, subscribe to my channel, and be ready for the next video. Till then, stay hustling and stay humble. Bye.